Two news and views with myself, Salailo Mokwidir. The time is 8:43 Central Africa time, and we're going to be having our hashtag Africa Focus feature. This is a special segment of the show where we focus on some of the most pressing issues on the continent, some of the trending issues on the African continent, everything and anything that you need to know about what's happening in the vast continent of Africa. And this time on our hashtag Africa Focus feature this morning, we'll be turning our attention to West Africa and to the legacy of a man who twice held Nigeria's highest office and while left the nation divided. Former Nigerian president and military ruler General Muhammadu Buhari has passed away in London at the age of 82 this past Sunday. And this morning, we'd like to send our condolences to the people of Nigeria. I think a country now in deep reflection over a leader whose name defined not just one, but two eras in the nation's political life. For some, Buhari was a hero, a disciplined, incorruptible leader who stood for national unity and frugality. But for many others, especially in the southern parts of Nigeria, he's remembered as, dare I say, a symbol of authoritarianism, ethnic bias, maybe, and a president whose watch inequality, insecurity, and repression in Nigeria grew. Today, Nigerians are asking, was Muhammad Buhari a savior of the republic or its chief divider? To help us unpack this, we're joined from Abuja by Joshua Owoyomi. He's a Nigerian-based broadcast journalist and also executive director of the West African Leadership and Empowerment Center. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us on Salam Media. Always a pleasure. And yeah, it's this conversation is happening, I think, during a very, very important moment, a moment of national introspection in Nigeria.
Yes, thank you for having me. However, I I want on behalf of Nigerians take serious exception to your manner of introducing and classifying late President Muhammadu Buhari. That some people do not agree with late President Muhammadu Buhari's style does not
Mm,
mean that he left the country a divided nation or that he was an authoritarian or a tyrant. So I take serious exception to that. Um, Majority of Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians, put President Buhari as one of the very few leaders with integrity and dedication. A man that, while he was alive till he died, you cannot pinpoint any any form of corruption on him. You cannot classify him as one of those that embezzled the treasuries of Nigeria. So when we talk about such a man, we should do so with utmost respect and reference.
mm,
Is a man
mm,
that served Nigeria as a military head of state, as a military man, started serving young age and even served Nigeria in his old age. So please, President Muhammadu Buhari is one of the most respected individuals in the history of our nation, Nigeria. I don't know your bias, I don't understand your bias, but I can categorically say President Muhammadu Buhari, though now late, was one of the great leaders we've had, one with serious dedication to the development of Nigeria. No man is perfect. No man can be perfect. No man is an island. To be a successful leader, you must have people around you. So anyway, President Buhari probably failed. It is not because he was not a good man, but probably because a man does not make an island. So please, that's what I want to say about that. So we can
mm.
the interview.
No, I think that that's a very important and a noted point that you're making. That's why I think, as you mentioned, there's no such thing as a perfect leader, and hence I made the two distinctions, because I'm sure even in Nigeria in itself, that the consensus is not one. I think even in my intro, you would hear that I do mention that there are some people who believe there are some issues that he did not maybe deal with, the best in his two tenors as the president of Nigeria. But if you can just give us a picture, just in general, in Nigeria, how are Nigerians mourning or reacting to the passing of Muhammadu Buhari, and just generally the national atmosphere been like since the announcement of his death on Sunday?
All right, thank you. Now, we have people. Nigeria is a very complex nation. We have different people. Many people, they are
Yes,
they
Joshua.
are political bias
Hmm.
or they are ethical bias. So it's different. However, every many responsible Nigerians are sad about the passing of President Buhari. Many sincere Nigerians and Africans, West Africans, are sad at this event. Even though President Buhari lived a good life and he died at a good old age of 82 years, um, because of the kind of leader he was, we had different opinions, majority of which were commendations and sadness because of the man that departed. So he departed a soldier, he departed an upright man, a man full of integrity. And for true lovers of Nigeria, this has been the testimony. This has been what they have been sharing, both on social media and on traditional media.
Hmm.
We lost a man that truly loved Nigeria and served Nigeria. So that for me is the majority of the consensus that look, this man died and he served Nigeria and died a man with his integrity intact.
Mm, mm, mm. You keep mentioning, the two eras, that Buhari, I think, led Nigeria in. He was a man of two eras. You mentioned, being a military commander and leader back in the 1980s, and then also that two-termed elected president, a few decades later, where he served for two terms. How different or how similar were these two versions of him? If you can just unpack, the leadership styles and just how differently he had to maneuver his time at the helm during these two very contrasting times of his life.
Oh yes. So as a military head of state, you take decisions yourself. You are in charge, and you can make decrees. So during that time, it was all about decrease, decrease, decrease. But as an elected president, you have to be democratic. So that was the same thing about the two eras. As military head of state, he could take any decision. He could arrest somebody that he feels was a criminal, and the person will have to prove otherwise after being arrested or after being dealt with. But as a an elected, democratically elected president, you can't do that. So, as a military head of state, if you think this person is corrupt, you can throw the person in jail, in prison. But as a democratically elected president, you can't do that. You have to let the law have its way. So those were two distinct things. And but one thing that linked the two eras, one was the person Buhari, and then secondly was the obvious discipline of the man. The Buhari the head of state was a contested man, was a man that stood strongly on his integrity and won't do anything against the Nigerian state. Also, the Buhari as the president was a man that still maintained his integrity, a man that is not concerned about emerging necessary wealth, a man that spent 8 years and still went back to his old house because
Mm,
he was not one of those that would say, I need maybe a presidential library for Haitian, or I need the space to build me a gigantic structure. So this thing still links the Buhari of 1980 and the Buhari of 1983 and Buhari of 2015 to 2023. So he was a man that was consistent with his integrity and his desire for a better Nigeria.
mm, mm, definitely. I want to focus on young people. Nigeria is predominantly made up of a young population, as is a lot of the African continent. I think one of the should I say, painful memories under his presidency, especially for the young people, was the hashtag End SARS protest. Many young Nigerians, feeling like they are not in touch with the government, feeling like the government is not listening to them. This was under Buhari's leadership. It made headlines all across the world. How are they reacting, to his passing? Was there a chance for Buhari to reconcile with the next generation of Nigerians?
All right, thank you very much. I think one major issue with the young population of our country and maybe continent is lack of history and lack of proper information. Many of our people do not. Many of our people are just run by emotion, and they lack proper ability to listen and do proper research. So the end situation, either which way, was not well managed by the government and also by the young people. But I think the end situation created a huge division between the old and the young. And I don't think that is settled yet because many people still have the belief that some things were done that shouldn't have been done. Even after the demands by the NSAS advocates were met by the then president, uh, they still went to continue the process and all that. But anyhow, I don't think the trust relationship is something that can be amended uh, with words or just like that. I think a whole lot still needs to go into education, reorientation, and proper documentation of activities, historical things, historical activities, like what really happened on in that 2020, 2020 in that period, that October 2020, what really happened? Until we are sincere with ourselves and we open up. What I notice is many people, many of us, both in the government and the advocates, the fighters, many people are just interested in milk the situation for personal benefit. So it's a situation that you might likely not really get the true picture of what happened. And at the end of the day, uh, it will be difficult for reconciliation, true reconciliation to happen.
Mm, mm, mm.
But
Very
Buhari is gone
important point.
anyway.
Yes,
Buhari is
yes.
gone. And what is left is for the government of Nigeria to sincerely. And I think the government is trying that, bringing on board so many young people and trying to make them see what the government is doing and be totally part of it. So I think it's going on. If the youth are ready, we should prepare ourselves and be part of every of the governance of the country in sincerity. We should not be focused on what we will gain, personal gain, and see how the country can get better for it.
All right. I think we're going to end that note, Joshua. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And I think we send our heartfelt condolences to the people of Nigeria as South Africans, and hope you all the best. And we hope the nation heals after the passing of, I think, one of your most revered presidents. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me.
There you go. That was a Nigeria-based broadcast journalist and executive director of West African Leadership and Empowerment Center, Joshua Olawald Owoyomi, and he's coming to us live from Abuja in Nigeria. Are you Nigerian here in South Africa or across the diaspora? What do you think of the legacy of Buhari? You can send us a voice note on 061 or you can call us on 011 Going to take a quick break. When we come back, news and views continues.